Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
It is camping season, but there is a campfire ban on right now for most of Vancouver Island. So what are you supposed to do with your marshmallows? We're giving you lots of ideas today on Go. On today's show, comparing classic to contemporary in calendar cars, acro yoga, and a road trip to the Railway and Forestry Museum in Prince George. That and more in the next 30 minutes. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. There is a campfire ban on for most of Vancouver Island. And even though we have had a little bit of rain recently, that really doesn't change the situation at all. Erin Catherall is an information officer here at the Coastal Fire Center. The ground's a little wet today, but there's still a ban. How come?
Right now we do have a campfire ban for all areas of the Coastal Fire Center except the Mount Waddington Regional District area, the fog zone, as well as Haida Gwaii area. Okay. We have been receiving some precipitation in all areas across the island and in the Lower Mainland as well, but unfortunately this hasn't been sufficient enough to really get into the deep ground layers, and it's been too variable. So I can show you right here.
Yeah, I mean the ground's a bit damp right now. For you to sit down, you'd have a bit of moisture on your back.
Yeah, even this morning we had a bit of rain, but if you look down here, the soil's still dry, and we have roots here, and that's one of the big concerns that we have is that things are still dry. We have received rain, but it really hasn't been substantial enough for a long duration of time to really
How much rain do we have to get to have this ban lifted? Because it's going to be in place, I believe, until October the 15th, unless what?
Well, it is something that we are monitoring on a day-to-day basis. We do need sufficient rain, so that's rain for a long duration of time, and as well as forecasted for it as well.
Okay, so it's kind of a catch-22. If you want to have a campfire, we need the rain, but if you want to go camping, you probably don't want the rain. Later on Go Island, we're going to give you lots of ideas on how you can experience the campfire-like atmosphere without breaking the campfire ban. We're throwing things over now to Rayanne LaPlante. It's another edition of Calendar Cars. The original classic Jeep came out in 1940, and she compares that version to the modern-day Jeep. What? We're having a campfire, and there is a campfire ban on for most of Vancouver Island. Erin, what is up with this?
Well, right now, campfires are prohibited in most areas of the Coastal Fire Center. This does not include cooking stoves that use gas, propane, or briquettes.
Okay, so you're suggesting using the briquettes to have your campfire?
Absolutely. So I'll show you here.
Okay. She's going to show us the type of briquettes that you're using. And these are just regular barbecue briquettes. What is a briquette?
So a briquette is, it's either charcoal dust, it can be some sort of biomass that's compressed. And what we do is we use it down on the ground here, ensuring that it's on mineral soil. So we don't want to have, one of our big concerns is making sure that there is no woody debris. Right here we have a good fire guard that's around where we've removed any dry debris, and it is on mineral soil. And so here's an example of a briquette. So it burns, it's very, because it's so compressed, the heat gets really deep inside. So one of the big things is it's great, you can cook on it, you can roast marshmallows, but you just really want to make sure that it's properly extinguished before you leave the area.
Okay, so how do you put this thing out then?
So,
this is kind of the fun part.
Yeah, exactly. I have here the oven mitt, which is important when you have a metal spoon, keep in mind. A tin container, which is really important because if you had plastic, that would melt right through, which would not be good.
Okay.
It depends really on what you want to do. So if you are going to just douse it, you need to have 8 liters of water or more, and really make sure that those are completely dry, because they are so compressed, the heat gets right inside and it can stay hot, and so you could leave the area and a fire could ignite. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is an example that we recommend is you have, we use just a coffee container here. So you would pick one of these guys up and you'd put it right into the water. It's about 3/4 full, and it's going to smoke and sizzle. and you leave it submerged for a significant amount of time. And the more you add into this, of course, the water's going to get hot. You want to wait till the water is completely cold to the touch. And you pour out the water, keep the briquettes in here, put it in the back of your car, go home, lay it on some tin foil, dry them out, and then they're ready to use for the next time you have a campfire.
Okay, so you're not dumping the water onto the briquettes, you're putting the briquettes into the water.
You could also, if you had a larger area, you could add water onto it, but we recommend this way because it's a really good way to ensure that the briquette is completely cold to the touch. And then you have, you can, once they dry, they're ready to use for your next time you have your cooking
reusability factor involved with campfires, with briquettes. We're going to reuse one of our stories. We're in our summer schedule these days, and we're going to have a second look at a horse that Kelly Robinson met on Gabriel Island. Hadansi has quite a talent for painting. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. If you would like us to come and visit your event or location, you can send an email to kate.bergen@sjrb.ca, or if you have an idea for a feature story within Go, you can send your story ideas to islandstoryideas@shaw.ca. Todd's going to run into a tree, which is a good time to take a break. Still to come today on Go, yoga meets acrobatics, a road trip down the rails in Prince George, and Talk to Me Dan. That and more still to come today on Go. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. Erin's back there getting our campfire ready. Yes, even though there is a campfire ban on for most of Vancouver Island, there are some alternatives that you can use besides briquettes to get that ambiance that we all look for when camping. We're going to share some more ideas with you later on this edition of Go Island. But if you've ever dreamed of flying, perhaps acro yoga is the next best thing until we figure out how to do that without airplanes. It's a natural pairing of yoga, acrobatics, and building strength. Jocelyn Matwee checks it out. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. Do you feel like you're sitting around a campfire? Did you get camping this summer yet and you weren't able to have a campfire? Well, there's lots of ways that you can still capture that ambience and energy, atmosphere of sitting around a campfire, and this is one of the options. What are we looking at here, Erin?
You are allowed to have a propane fire as long as it is UCL or CSA approved.
Okay, and you can buy ones that aren't, so I could see where there'd be a little bit of confusion for people.
So it's really important when you do buy these propane stoves to make sure that it does have the sticker on it. So UCL or CSA approved is what we're looking for in order for it to be okay to use. One of the other things to keep in mind as well too is the flame length has to be less than 15 centimeters in height.
Okay, so you probably could turn it up if you wanted to.
Yeah, so keep that in mind, approximately 6 inches. So we really want to be cognizant of the flame height. Also too, of course, making sure that the area that you have it positioned in is removed of any debris, and you're extra cautious and follow the directions for the stove. But like you said, it's great. It gives a campfire ambiance, and while you know campfires are prohibited in many areas, you can still have that opportunity in the evening to sit around with friends and family. And
what happens if you get caught doing a campfire when you're not supposed to? What's the punishment?
Well, the punishment is that you could get a ticket of $345.
Wow.
You could also be fined, depending if it results in a wildfire, for expenses. Also face a prison sentence as well too. So it's serious stuff. We don't want to take the chance of having a campfire escape and causing a wildfire. So, you know, the province is busy right now. We've got lots of lightning-caused fires in BC, and we need crews to be able to respond to those.
Definitely not worth it when there are lots of options to traditional campfires. We're going to give you some other ideas on how to entertain yourself around the campsite later on this edition of Go Island. It's time now, though, for a road trip. We're heading to Prince George for a visit to the Railway and Forestry Museum. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. We're getting our marshmallows ready here because even though there's a campfire ban on, you can still roast them or eat them raw on briquette fires or even propane fires, but that's probably not going to taste very good.
Probably not.
And there's lots of other things you can do around the campfire besides, well, the campsite, besides eat.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've had some really good suggestions given to us. One of them was to have glow stick bowling, which I thought would be pretty cool. Have a water bottle, throw a cracked glow stick into it, and it lights up, and at nighttime you can play bowling with the kids.
That would be very cool.
Yeah, or
very cool.
Playing cards, of course. That's always fun.
There's use a lantern on the
yeah, it's all
table
about spending time with friends and family. So.
And getting away from all the stresses and devices and all that kind of stuff. And you can always eat the marshmallows raw, which I'm tending to do today. Here you go, Todd. You can have that half one.
Oh,
It's all sticky. Thanks, Darren. We're going to throw things over now to Dan Kahn. It's another edition of Talk to Me, where he hits the streets of Victoria and tries to get people engaged in conversation, but I think he got a little bit lost this time around, and he ends up in Metchosin. Dan should talk about marshmallows. I actually like to double up and get about 4 or 5 layers off of every one. I actually don't eat that many marshmallows. That's it for this edition of Go Island. Don't have a campfire. Use other methods to enjoy the atmosphere at your campsite. Thanks for watching Go Island. We'll see you next time.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kait's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Maffeo Salon.